This is an electric vehicle that you never have to charge if you drive under 40 miles a day. It's the Aptera Solar electric vehicle, and yeah, it looks crazy, but not just for look's sake. Every part of the design of this vehicle is towards the functionality of being one of the most efficient electric cars when it hits the road later this year, and we're about to take it for a spin. Now, obviously, being a solar vehicle, one of the most important parts of this design are these curved solar panels that you'll find on the hood, on the roof, and on the rear hatch. It's got enough solar capacity here that if you parked it in the sun in Southern California, you'd be looking at around 40 miles of free range every day, just sitting in your driveway. And when you consider that the average commute for an American is under 30 miles, that means that for day-to-day driving, you'll never have to charge this thing. Of course, you can charge it, and plugging in gets you up to 400 miles of range. And the way that they do that with just a 45 kilowatt hour battery is because this vehicle is just so efficient. The vehicle has an extremely low coefficient of drag. It's shaped like a dolphin, and it gets through the air with about a third of the aerodynamic drag of a regular electric vehicle. In these pods, we've got very narrow, low rolling resistance tires, so they're not wasting a lot of energy on friction just rolling down the road. And underneath this design is a full carbon body. That means that this thing weighs about half, maybe less of an EV in its class. Not much in its class, but it weighs about half as much as a regular EV. That means that it's not using as much energy going down the road, and that gets you that big range. And it's also extremely lightweight, weight being one of the biggest enemies of all electric vehicles. It's got a full carbon fiber chassis underneath this paint, which means that it weighs a little bit under half of what a regular EV would. Of course, there are only 2 seats, but most of the time you're just driving around by yourself with 1 passenger anyway, and there's enough cargo space back here for 2 carry-on bags, a whole lot more. And because this is such a simple and compact vehicle with such a small battery given its efficiency, I mean, we're talking about a battery here that's just a little bit bigger than what you'd find in a hybrid, but for a full 400-mile electric car, Aptera is able to offer this thing at a very competitive price. They're saying $40,000 for the launch edition, which hits later this year, with less expensive versions coming thereafter. Now here in the cabin, we have a thoroughly modern dashboard, big touchscreen, digital instrument cluster, yoke-style steering wheel with very fast ratio, but no weird variable steering trickery. Now, this is the seat that I'd like to be in, but because it's a production intent model, I'm gonna have to hop on the passenger side, so let me hustle over there. So this is actually their test track vehicle, so it's a little bit different from the one that we just saw on the stage. It's got different front wheels, the interior has been stripped out, but this is the one they're using validation for the production vehicle that arrives later this year. So I'm here with Chris from Aptera. Hey. We are in one of their test prototypes. So it's not exactly the vehicle that we saw earlier, but the powertrain and everything is pretty close to what you're gonna get when this vehicle hits the road. So we're taking a spin around Vegas right now. Electric energy coming from the sun onto the dashboard, onto the roof, onto the hood. Everywhere I look, there's solar panels on every sort of horizontal surface. So I'm told there's a 120 kilowatt electric motor at the front. And that's driving the front wheels, which is not what you would expect from a 3-wheeled vehicle like this. I assume that the rear motor was the one turning, but I'm told that by using the front wheels, you get a better balance of weight over the front, which makes this vehicle feel more stable. But also you get the advantage of having a better contact patch for your acceleration up front, a very familiar driving character. And meanwhile, that rear wheel at the back is just kind of back there holding the back of the vehicle up, so you don't have a whole lot of rolling resistance or friction, which is one of the things that helps this vehicle get the range that it gets. So one of the things you'll also notice is different about this vehicle versus the vehicle that we saw in the parking lot back there was that this has got a full steering wheel. The other one uses a yoke-style steering wheel, which uses a very high steering ratio, so you don't have to do a full 360 turn to get the full steering lock. But it doesn't use any of that sort of variable steering trickery. But what we have right here looks like a pretty traditional steering wheel. Basically, it's from where I'm sitting, it looks pretty production ready. Well, not this one, but the one that we saw in the parking lot there. I'm told that this vehicle will be entering production sometime later this year. So if you've got a pre-order in, it may be CES 2026 that you find yourself behind the wheel of one of these your own. So there you have it, a first ride in the solar electric Aptera Motors EV. Be sure to head over to cnet.com where we've got even more details about this very cool ride that I just took a spin in. I'll meet you there.